Hello everybody, today we are going to discuss about evolution. What is this event which affects our world and our lives over millions of years? Now, as we know from Darwin, evolution seems to be somehow linear. So we come from the past, from an original bacteria, and over millions of years, we end up with millions of different kinds of plants, animals, birds, the situation we have today. But the question is, if we know we are in a curved universe and the only function available is this one, and this affects absolutely everything, how can we have a linear evolution? We have to amend that. So, this is somehow close to reality, but we have to see how this linear evolution works in a curved environment, like our world. So, I have to see if this line applied to this cycle, it modifies something. What I have explained this already is we are on our planet during a cycle. Right now we are here at this point and it's very heat, very hot outside. It was cold in the past. Now the problem is, if I have a linear evolution, the question is, how does this affect this period? We know that every once in a while an asteroid comes from the sky, it kills a lot of animals, but life recovers. So this situation somehow still remains. But in reality, life is affected a lot about this absence of the heat in this period. So when I say about evolution, I think that if I take an animal from the past and I bring it today, it is no longer here the same manner because animals are different. But I'm not sure it is like this. Think about it. If I take the lion, and the lion has almost no hair with exception around his head, the question is, if it gets hotter, it will not have hair at all. But in 12,000 years from now, if we would see the lion, we will not recognize it. It will have a lot of hair. It will be something like a buffalo or some sort. It will look like a very, very strange animal. And if I take this lion from here and I'm putting him in the past, if I dig it out from the earth, I think it's a different animal. But it's the same. It's the same animal who adapts to this climate. Heat, cold, heat, cold. So the total number of animals are not exactly that big after all. It's the same animal who adapts to these environmental changes. Now, we have to see if what Darwin tells us about the evolution is exactly right. So the best way to understand it is go into the dictionary and see what is evolution. Now, you should know that many words that we have today in English language are somehow Romanian words, because Romanian language is much older and the people are much older. So this word called evolution, in Romanian is evoluție. We have to analyze this and see if in the dictionary this word is exactly what we think it is. But I have a problem. We have dictionaries only today, but in the past there were no dictionaries. So I have to question if a word modifies its meaning over time or not. If there are basic elements like feet, like heat, like sun, these do not modify over millions of years. But more complex words, usually longer words, we have to see if their meanings are exactly right now and their meaning was exactly like that 1,000 years ago or more. So I have to question this word, evoluție. It means exactly what Darwin tells us, a linear evolution in a universe where there are no lines. Well, let's break this long word into its basic elements and see what does this mean. Well, if I look at it, I see it's E in front, which E means is, est, from Latin. So the first idea is to break it in two. Evoluție. Why is this important, changing V with B? If you look into the Russian language, they have this change between V and B. Also, if you look into the Latin language, sometimes they write V, but they spell it U. There are slight variations over time, And those variations are important. And if I look at the world and I were to understand it from historical point of view, I have to question if the world in the past was exactly like this one. My understanding is that in the past was evoluție. Okay, now I have to question. Evoluție means is evolution. What is evolution? Let's break this world into its subcomponents. Uție, it's an end part of the word, something like ing in English. Doesn't mean anything. It's a part of the word which makes it longer. Or like varium, like uium in Latin. It doesn't mean exactly something. But it's something which is not for sure the core of the word. So if I have to guess, what does evolution mean? I have to look. It is this word which repeats itself to many other words, or the core. My understanding is the word ball is the core, which is this one. So ball is ball. What it means is this one. You know what it means, and somehow evolution refers to this ball. Why? Do you see any lines here? There are no lines here. So I have to question, is the understanding of the word evolution right now, it is a line, but it used to be somehow a curve in the past. What does this mean for us today? In the past, when people wanted to say something, they were referring to existing words, but the baggage of existing words were very small. So each time a new situation was appearing, the people were referring to the existing words, changing their accent or the way they were spelling it only a little. So new words appear, also by putting one vocal or something like this. So the word bowl doesn't change in over thousands of years, because the bowl, it's always the same. It doesn't change. But evolution, it's a complex word. So I have to question. If I want to express something and I refer to this bowl, and the bowl is always the same, then I can get to the root of the meaning of evolution in the past. And if I look at it, if I want to draw a line, in fact, it's a curve, like this one. So in reality, when people wanted to say something about a variation which is curved, it's cyclic and it repeats itself, they were referring to something which we know it's always curved and it repeats itself, which is this bowl. They just compare it to something which is standard, and we know it's always like this. So if I have to express passage of time in this case, I see I have half a cycle here, and then I have another one like here, and then I repeat itself like this one. You can see it very clearly here. So if I repeat the cycle on and on, what I get is not a linear variation. What I get is something else. I get this one. You can see it here. So it looks to me that in the past, when people refer to the bowl, they were referring to something which somehow repeats itself after a while. As we know already, it is the variation of heat and cold which repeats itself over 24,000 years period, from here up to here. Ancient people knew that, but somehow we have lost this knowledge. So here are not that many animals and plants and people, but here are a lot. So amending this evolution, what we get is something like this one. If in the past Darwin tells us that there was an initial bacteria which spreads to a lot of animals and birds that we have today, this varies according to environmental temperature. And what it happens in reality is something very simple. We have very few animals and plants here struggling for survival because everything is covered by snow and ice. But as it's getting colder, the number increases. And we have many until here when there is a maximum. So, when we have a maximum like it is today, if we would follow Darwin, we would just go up forever and ever. but temperature doesn't allow that. So as temperature is starting to decrease, more and more resources are covered by snow and ice all the time, so animals and plants starve and eventually they reduce their number. They adapt because the variation of temperature is slow. But even so, after a lot of time, they reduce to the minimum. So, Darwin is right with evolution from conceptual point of view, but from number of animals and plants point of view, they vary in this cycle, having a minimum here and a maximum here. Now, this is important because, once again, if I look back into the history, I see other animals and other plants, but I think they are the same. They are exactly the same, which adapt after this cycle. It's nothing, it's not special in this case. It would happen the same no matter if this cycle is longer or shorter. But what I want to explain is there is no linear variation from evolution point of view. Evolution is not automatically. It happens according with potential. If there are enough resources and the environmental conditions are right, there is an expansion. And if the environmental conditions are worse, there is a contraction. And this happens once at every 24,000 years. We should amend this, considering, once again, that what we have to do is to adapt the line of Darwin to a curved environment. Because in fact, of a bigger scale, this line is in fact a curved. A little, okay? It's a curve. And this increased number decreases after some time. Then it increases once again. There is a variation. This is important in order to understand how this works on our planet, considering this cycle of heat and cold. This is what I wanted to explain. And I think evolution should be amended and considered into these conditions, and we don't have to take it naturally as an expansion. I see evolution as periods of expansion and contraction, expansion and contraction. This explanation, I think it's much closer to reality. This is what I wanted to explain. I think I have made it very simple for everyone to understand. Thank you for watching.